Mi sembra che siamo stati praticamente nei tempi, ma
I think we are just 4 minutes behind schedule, so that's good. I'd like to call on stage Mr. Jean Madar, co-founder of Interparfum. We have a video.
And I'm the CEO of Interparfum. 40 years ago, me and my business school friend, Philippe Benassin, started the fragrance business that is now Interparfum. Since its creation, Interparfum has grown into an international powerhouse, yet it has preserved the family spirit that places priority on long-term vision. Our fragrances can be found in over 120 countries. We use personalized approach to each brand to work hand in hand with licensors in the product development process. We are storytellers with a bottle. While staying true to the spirit of the brands, we produce over 40 million bottles every year, such as Jimmy Choo, Graf, MCM, Montblanc, Montclair, Oscar de la Renta, and of course, Salvatore Ferragamo. With Ferragamo, from the start of our partnership, we made a long-term commitment to the Ferragamo Group to stay true to the Italian heritage of the brand. We are confident that together, our expertise will elevate Ferragamo fragrance. We are entering a very exciting and important time for our company, reaching 1 billion in sales this year. And how did we get to this point? The credit goes to our amazing team and incredibly talented, diligent, and hard-working people across the globe. With all this success, we have no intention of stopping. We are looking forward to even bigger and better milestones ahead.
Congratulations, we have finished already the interview, so you said everything.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe people want to have lunch, so we can cut it short.
I have all the questions done, so...
Yeah, we covered, but thank you for inviting me. I'm very honored to be part of this group and to be the last one to talk.
It's a pleasure. We are very happy to have you here. We know, obviously, the group Interparfum, that is one of the most important players in the licensing business for fragrances. And interesting that you are reaching this year 1 billion. You are listed in Paris or New York? I don't know.
Okay. Let's talk about the sales first, because 1 billion, of course, it's a milestone. It talks to us, to the employees, to our partners, suppliers, distributors. But we don't feel like $1 billion. We feel like a startup. We work like a startup. We are a 40-year-old startup. And my goal is to maintain this spirit of entrepreneurship, spirit of risk-taking, spirit of flexibility, agility. I mean, these are very important adjectives. So the billion is the sale, but what is behind the billion? Same people, same mentality. Talking about listing, we have 2 listings. We have one listing that started in the US almost 40 years ago. Actually, 35 years ago, the company went public in the US, and then we went public in Paris after. So we have 2 listings. I don't want to be too technical, but it's not exactly the same company that is listed in France and in New York.
Situation.
No, it's not complicated. It's the heritage of the past. We started with a US company, and the French company is a subsidiary. So we listed our subsidiary because we thought that we'll need money and we didn't want to dilute ourselves on the top. In the 80s, in the 90s, it was very fashionable to create this kind of pyramid. Today, we will try to eliminate, simplify, but it will cost a lot of money in taxes. So we live with these 2 listings. We like to be a public...
But the US control the French?
Yes, the US control the French. We like to be a public company. People ask me many times is it difficult? Is it expensive? What does it bring? The first thing that it brings discipline. Discipline of reporting numbers, discipline of creating budgets and keeping the budget. This is very important. Of course, it creates visibility. I mean, I listen to most of the people talking today, and the visibility is definitely a plus in this market. And for us, it brought also an exposure, because Interparfums does not own too many brands. We are licensee, so we are renting the brands. We do not own them. And of course, when you are public, people look at you in a more transparent way, and we like to talk about our numbers, our achievements. When you're a public company, you don't talk about your failures. You only talk about the success. So we have been lucky, especially in the last 5 years. We had accelerated our development. Some years ago, we lost a major license called Burberry. They decided to go on their own. Then they went to another player in the industry. But we lost 50% of our business in 1 year. We were able to rebuild this business with other brands. We took over Montblanc, we took over Jimmy Choo, we made... and today we have a beautiful, diverse, interesting portfolio of brands.
It's even better because it's less risky, rather than have one brand half of the turnover.
Today we do not have a brand that does more than 15 or 20% of the total sales. Yes, we are in a better position. When I look at the portfolio of brands, we love the bigger brands because it's easier to manage 100 or 150 million brands than a 5 million brands. But I think that if people come to Interparfums, it's because we will put the same amount of work, same amount of energy for a very small brand or for a company that's just starting in the fragrance business than a very established brand. I'm thinking of 2 brands that come to my mind. One is Moncler, that we launched in the middle of last year, at the end of last year.
In fact, Moncler, it's not a classic fashion brand, let's say. What is the positioning? What you found in that brand to be relevant for a perfume line?
Moncler is a fantastic brand because the level of engagement with the consumer is very high. The desirability of the brand is one of the highest we have. And we have a super creative partner. If you have not seen the product is a mix of emotion and technology with a LED and the app. And we did it before other groups. So Moncler is not... I was talking at your dinner last night with some people, and I said, Moncler is not an Italian brand, it's not a French brand, even though it was born. Moncler is in the moon. Moncler talks to such a diverse public. It's a fantastic brand. The other brand that I want to mention, it's a very small in our portfolio, but very, very charged of emotion, is Graff. We are very lucky to be chosen by Mr. Graff to come up with his new fragrance. We have some experience with fragrance from jewelry because we do Boucheron, we do Van Cleef successfully. So we're happy to have Graff joining the team.
And don't you feel, you were talking about 1 billion, yeah. But obviously the size is related to the competitor player. So you are in a business where you have also Coty, L'Oréal, LVMH. So don't you feel that you are small? Or
Yes, we feel very small, and I want to feel like this because it's great to be a challenger. I have our friends from L'Oréal here, which we love and we respect and we admire. But it's great to be small. It's great to be considered the small kid in the block, even though we've been here for a while now. So, you know, when companies want to launch a fragrance, they're going to go and see the usual suspects. And they are L'Oréal, Coty, some in Italy, some in France. We are part of them. And we compete fairly with them. We feel like sometimes we can do a better job. I'm going to give you some examples. We took Montblanc from Procter & Gamble. Mm-hmm. Procter & Gamble is a fantastic company. It's not even a company. It's a culture. It's a school. It's much more than that. But for years, they had been stuck with a certain level of sales. In a matter of less than 10 years, we were able to build Montblanc to a very, very strong franchise in fragrance. I'm very proud of it. Montblanc will do close to $150 million net. So again, a big company with a lot of money. Why they were not successful? I think it's because of the alchemy, also the desire to think out of the box. We have taken like this other brands. We took also a Guess from Coty. Guess was doing $50, $60 million under Coty and this was what, 3 years ago. Guess we doubled the sales in 3 years. We are not magicians, but I think that when we put attention and energy, it works.
And let's talk about Italy. So yes. As we are here, and you are a company that has 2 headquarters, so you said in US and France, but you told me that you are focusing on the Italian market. Why? What you are searching in this country, and what are your plans for Italy? Yes,
Italy is definitely a place of importance for us because with the signing of a license with Ferragamo, there was one obligation. We thought it was difficult to do it, but it happened to be a great opportunity. Ferragamo wanted the products to be made in Italy, and they wanted us to take over the employees that they had in Italy. So this was...
because it was directly managed? It was
directly managed by Ferragamo. So when we took over the license, they made a point to keep the business in Italy. We accepted it without thinking too much. We thought it will be more of a, how should I say, another... problem, but we're used to manage problems. But not only it's not a problem, but it's a fantastic opportunity because we have a team of people. I know them now for more than 6 months. They are fantastic to work with. And because of this presence in Italy, we are working with Italian suppliers, Italian fillers. We met and we developed business with great companies. Some of them are here today. We work with Intercos, we work with ICR. These are people who have a knowledge of a business that is very difficult to find. So I'm glad that Ferragamo forced us to stay in Italy because we're going to make Italy part of our development. Not only for Ferragamo, but for other brands to come.
So you said, so you are thinking about also moving in this facility you have acquired in Italy other productions, or the facility of Ferragamo will remain for Ferragamo only?
We think that the Ferragamo people and the group and what we have designed can do more than that, and we will move some not only some distribution, but we'll move also some management of new license in our Italian company. Italy, not only they have heritage and they have knowledge, but they have also a creativity that is difficult to find. I will say that I've been spending a lot of time in France and in the US, for instance, from a manufacturing and process point of view, Italy is, for me, 10 times better than what I see in the US.
So also the production of glasses and things like that can be done here? Absolutely.
You have plastic, you have glass, you have fragrance house, you have all the partners to be successful.
Interesting. And what is your vision of the future of fragrances? You think that it's a market that it will continue to grow? You need to invest more in advertising to keep the share. What is your vision?
Interparfums has been a pure player in the fragrance. We never touch makeup. We never did skincare. Many people told me, "Why are you only in this segment? You are missing 60 or 70 or in some countries 80% of a market." But again, I think that we are good at what we know, and we love fragrance. So in the last 2 years, when you see the growth of the fragrance category, we proved our point. We didn't go into any adventures, skincare, makeup. It's not that it's frightening, but for me it's a different business. So where do I see Interparfums growing? We will continue to develop our portfolio of brands. We'll have more brands in the very near future. We'll make some announcement. We'll have more brands coming to join us. And I think that the growth of the fragrance segment will continue. We saw it in the last quarter that we released a couple of days ago. Our sales were up 25 or 26%. It's continuing into this year for sure. Basically, the COVID gave us a lot of opportunities. Development of e-commerce. It was very difficult to sell fragrance on e-commerce before because fragrance is not about a claim, it's about emotion. So how do you relate emotion on the... Of course, we have to create a lot of assets, digital assets, to convey this message. But now that the COVID is over, now that people are back in the store, we are capitalizing on the two channels, and that's why we will continue to see the growth.
Okay, but what if I don't know, a brand asks you, because many brands, not a lot, but many big brands started enlarging their offer from fragrances to skincare to. In case a brand asks you to enlarge the offer, what you say? What you would reply?
I will reply that in order to be a three-segment brand, you need to be strong in your first segment. Today, with the brands that we have, I don't see Montblanc going into men's skincare, for instance. I don't see Jimmy Choo going in full-blown with makeup. I don't see... no, I think that it's absolutely fine to try to be the best in the category we are, and that's what we'll continue to do. I think it's a plus, not a minus. And you know, fragrance is is this product that talks to the people without a claims, as opposed to skincare. We don't have to scientifically prove anything.
The ingredients.
We have to create a desire, an emotion. And at Interparfums, the project starts from the stomach, because we have to feel something here. Then it goes to the heart. We love the project, and then it goes to the mind. So I think that when you look at skincare, for instance, it's the reverse. It starts from the head and then it goes down. So we are very comfortable and happy working with emotion and heart.
How much do you invest in advertising to create, to maintain this emotion and to?
But in general, we spend around above 22% of our sales in marketing expenses. Out of this, media and digital media is a big piece of it. Let's say half of it. It will continue to grow in the future because we need to. And I think that marketing and advertising for fragrance is the insurance to have sales in the future. So, of course, accountants will tell us that it's an expense, it's not an investment. But if we leave on the side the accounting, the company will try to spend more than is necessary, because this is why we'll have sales going forward.
So you give up a piece of profit this always, year to have a piece of profit in the future?
Definitely. When I look at the numbers for this year, and that's true that every month we have some good surprise with brands, instead of giving it to the accounting department, I prefer to give it to the marketing department.
And so last question, what do you see yourself and your partner in the future, in 3-5 years time? The company is public, so you...
Company is public. We have many challenges. Challenges of keeping the talents, attracting new talents. We are lucky because my partners has a daughter who works in the company. I have one of my daughter who works in the company, just started learning. So we are in a very good position. I'm not looking to retire at all. No, we have many adventures to do.
Okay. Jean, thank you very much for your time. It was a pleasure, and I hope to see you here again in the future.
Thank you very much.
Take care. Grazie a tutti per l'attenzione.
Well, thank you everyone for the attention. That's it for today. I hope it was interesting, definitely much diversified in terms of projects, channels, and testimonies. So see you next year. Thank you.